members of Myanmar's persecuted Rohingya minority capsized in the Bay of Bengal. One boat lost contact shortly after departure. A second boat that reportedly carried close to 300 people is believed to have gone down off Myanmar's coast about a week ago. The first boat carried roughly 250 individuals. News and analysis, townhall.com. It is a limited-time glimpse into the human side of a visionary composer, one of the giants of classical music.
Visitors to Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's hometown can see the composer and his dog in miniature as Salzburg celebrates the 270th anniversary of his birth. But they shouldn't wait too long. The Mozarteum Foundation on Wednesday unveiled 300 gold-colored statuettes of Mozart, which are less than 20 inches tall. They were designed by German concept artist Ottmar Hörl. To give the statues a human touch, Hörl depicted the composer with his favorite dog, Pimperl. The Mozart statues are scheduled to remain on display until August 30th. Keith Peters reporting.
Citing what it describes as unfair trading practices, the U.S. will slap a 25% tariff on some Brazilian imports that starts in 6 days. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Good morning, and welcome to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. It is a great day because we have two superstars here in the studio. The original All-Star panelist, the one, the only, Crom Carmichael. Good morning, Crom.
Greetings, kind sir.
And our very good friend, State Representative Gino Bolso from Williamson County here in Tennessee.
Good morning, Michael.
And, let me just say, an outstanding litigator and a pretty darn good tennis player.
Well, you're very kind this morning, but
you're like very competitive, aren't you?
Well, I try to play a good bit of tennis because it keeps you both in shape mentally and physically.
It's like Roger Simon, our buddy Roger Simon says. He's like 82, and he's like slamming it out there.
And we've got the New England Grand Slam Grass Court Championships coming up at the end of the month in Providence, Rhode Island. I'll be competing in that one, yes.
No kidding?
Yeah.
That's pretty darn good.
Well, I get to play against fellows my own age. It's a men's 60s division tournament, so we'll see how I do.
I have a good feeling about it. It is time for the Morning Rundown, which is brought to you every weekday at this time by our very good friends at the Glock Store, glockstore.com, located just a few miles from the airport, right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So here we go. Here's the Morning Rundown for Thursday, July 16th, 2026. Number one, the president will address the nation tonight about election fraud in 2020, focusing on Georgia. Number two, the left, MS Now, used to be MSNBC, is already trying to undermine that with leaks. Tom Pappert will join us, Crom, at the bottom of the hour, talk about that. Number three, the Iran conflict heats up. Number four, Biden prosecutor Jack Smith. He's in trouble for alleged perjury over obtaining private communications. And number five, early voting begins tomorrow in the Tennessee primaries. But, Gino, I don't think you have a primary opponent, do you?
I do not.
That's good news, right?
That's very good news.
That's really good. All right, it's brought to you by our friends at the Glock Store. I want to talk to you about the Osite August events, Crom. You know, we're big Glock Store fans, and Gino, you're a big Second Amendment guy, right?
I'm in favor of all of the first 10 in particular, but the second's a good one.
It's Osite VIP Experience, Friday, August 7th from noon to 5. Get the first look at the latest Osite optics and exclusive access to an incredible meet, greet, and pro photo shoot with the hilarious gun guy. Crom, you'll love this. The YouTube sensation, Short Shot Tony. Yeah, he'll be there. And the USPSA's youngest grandmaster with 24 national championships and 8, count them 8, world records, Justine Williams. You'll be hands-on with Osite Optics and the Shoot 270 shooting rooms. Get expert CCW tips and tactics, learn red dot install and bore sighting techniques, and enjoy a delicious catered lunch. And you'll get a VIP gift bag worth over, wait for it, Crom, $2,000. That includes a brand new Osite optic. Go to glockstore.com/VIP to get your tickets. That's glockstore.com/VIP. And if Friday doesn't work for you, come to Osite Day on Saturday, August 8th. It's free on Saturday. Hands-on range time, great giveaways, exclusive in-store discounts, free O-Site swag. I love swag, don't you?
Can't beat it.
O-Site August at the Glock Store. Minutes from the airport here in Nashville. Worth the drive from anywhere. Gina, let's catch up.
Sure.
You've been around the General Assembly, very significant. You're one of 99 members of the House.
Yes.
Accomplished a lot. Ended session, in late April?
We did, yes.
What does a member of the Tennessee General Assembly state representative do in their off time?
I guess it depends on which one you're talking to.
Yeah.
When you're speaking to the one who represents District 61, the way I do, I normally have a slate of trials lined up because I can't try cases during the term of the General Assembly.
You're a litigator with huge experience in litigation. You've practiced law for what, 35, 40 years?
40 years now.
40 years.
Yeah. I've got to try over 175 cases by this point.
175 cases?
Oh. To judges and juries in Tennessee and across the country, state and federal court.
Has the practice of law in juries changed in trials? Has it changed over 40 years?
Oh, yes, especially the way that you present evidence to a jury, the tools that are available to present.
A lot more tools these days?
A lot more tools. We've got very sophisticated trial presentation software that we use, and all the documents are digitized. The depositions that we take are all taken on videotape, and then we use clips of videotapes to impeach witnesses. So there's a lot that you can do now.
So if you're a witness on the other side, be careful. You got all the goods on them, right?
We do our best.
By the way, just as an aside, Crom, you'll find this interesting. You know the great actress Patricia Heaton?
Sure.
She lives here in Nashville. She's a very strong conservative, and she's been at a couple of events. She's doing a pilot program, a pilot episode of, think of this, take Law and Order and you put it into public interest law firms. She's got a pilot episode called Public Interest.
What is defined as a public interest law firm?
Well, it's somebody that represents people like me for free.
Does it represent people who oppose you for free?
Sometimes.
Okay, so I mean, it can be either way.
Yeah. Well, there's left-wing public interest law
That's
firms.
right.
Sure.
And right-wing. None of the left-wings have anything to do with me.
I'm surprised. Stunned, amazed.
But, we've been represented by America First Legal.
Yes, very good group.
That's Southeastern Legal Foundation that haven't represented us. Wisconsin Institute of Law and Liberty. There's a lot of them out there. Judicial Watch, probably one of the most well-known. Mm-hmm. But it's a different kind of law, right?
It is. I mean, it obviously typically focuses on constitutional issues, federal constitutional issues, typically the First Amendment, access to records, things of that nature. So I'm glad that we've got public interest law firms because they do a good job.
And most of your work as a litigator is I think, civil contract disputes. Is that really mostly what you do, or?
It certainly is in the civil area. Mm-hmm. I don't do criminal or domestic cases. Most of it is complex commercial litigation. So it's rare that we get involved in federal constitutional issues, but we do on occasion.
Yeah, it's interesting because, full disclosure, I'm doing the night law school thing here with Nashville School of Law. And Gino was one of the person who wrote my letter of recommendation, so they would scoop me in.
Got you in school.
It was all Gino.
I got you.
They let him in anyway.
How far are you along in your?
I'm pretty much halfway through.
Half.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
Too long.
Okay. How much longer does it go? Do you think?
I'll graduate in May of 27.
Okay. Well,
no. I'm sorry. I'll graduate in May of 29.
29.
Yeah. It's you're doing the right thing. It's fun, but it's interesting you talk about it. There are two paths that people can go in law, right? Criminal or civil. I find criminal depressing. It's just like it's really.
Well, there's commercial.
Well, it's civil stuff. Yeah.
You mean courtroom stuff?
Yeah, civil. That's what I'm. This is why Gino's such a champion of civil litigation. I'm going to do it in the public interest area, so that's why I was interested in the Patricia.
I can't wait till you finish up in 2029 and I get to call you a member of the bar.
One has to pass the bar exam. I don't think that's very easy stuff. You did it. You went to Emory Law School, right?
Yes. Yeah, I took it, 40 years ago,
Did
back
you
in
take
1986.
That's down in Atlanta, very prestigious law school. Did you take the Georgia bar? Or did you take the Tennessee bar?
I took the Tennessee bar. I finished law school in May and then began studying immediately for the Tennessee bar.
Yeah.
Probably the very first week of June.
How long did you study for it?
I mean, it seemed like it was all day, every day until we took it at the end of July, so probably a solid 2 months.
That's my plan. Crom, you're going to have to, you're going to have to bring food into me, when I'm huddled up trying to prepare for it. It's pretty detailed, isn't it?
Oh, yes, because it covers things that you really don't spend a lot of time on in school. Like, for
Yeah.
example, criminal procedure. You're probably not going to
Yeah.
go too far in depth in criminal procedure, but that's going to be on the bar exam.
Thanks so much
So,
for that heads
you know.
up, Gino. All right, when we come back, we're going to catch up. Crom, we want to talk with Gino about what's up with the Tennessee General Assembly in its next session in January. Back with Crom Carmichael, the original All-Star panelist, and our good friend Gino Balso, state representative and a great attorney and litigator. Back after this.
Thoroughbred Racing, June 25th through September 7th. Feel the excitement. Hear the roar of the crowd. Experience Virginia's premier horse racing destination every Thursday through Sunday all summer long. Bring the whole family for family fun Sundays packed with activities for all ages. Parking? Free. General admission? Free. Memories? Priceless. Make Colonial Downs Racetrack your new summer fun time tradition. Get tickets and race day info now at colonialdowns.com.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code GODZILLA for free activation.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with your host, Rick Hughes, every Sunday morning on the John Fredericks Radio Network. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul, built on God's Word. Join us every Sunday morning for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-555-1509. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-555-1509. That's 800-555-1509. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
I'm Brent Taylor, and I approve this message.
President Trump stands up to China, and he needs more conservative fighters to join him. In the state Senate, Brent Taylor voted for a tough new law banning foreign enemies like China from purchasing American farmland. He stands with President Trump to defend America's farmers and protect our vital agriculture industries from our enemies. Send a conservative fighter to Congress who never backs down. Vote Brent Taylor in the August 6th Republican primary. Paid for by Brent Taylor for Tennessee.
250 years ago, following an extraordinary victory that shook the globe, these newly forged Americans walked off the battlefield to create something unique in the world. A government that values individual liberty and justice. A system of laws built on limiting power and holding the mighty to account. They were young, they were bold, and together they wrote a document that changed everything. That document still stands, and 250 years later, the question remains, can we keep it? This October in Brentwood, Tennessee, students in grades 8 through 12 have a chance to answer that question and compete for a $10,000 Grand Champion Education Scholarship. More than $17,000 in education scholarships will be awarded in all. The 2026 National Constitution Bee, Saturday, October 24th, Spring Hill Suites, Marriott, Brentwood, Tennessee. Register now at nationalconstitutionbee.org. That's nationalconstitutionbee.org. Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, original All-Star panelist Crom Carmichael, State Representative from Williamson County, Gino Bolso. Gino, so you have no primary opponent.
Correct.
Do you have a general election opponent?
Yes.
Okay. But it's a pretty safe Republican district.
It's a very safe Republican district.
Yeah. But,
yes.
you know, you're going to run through the tape, I'm sure.
Oh, sure. And it's always good during election season to get out and meet voters and make sure that you hear their most pressing concerns.
Okay, so the Tennessee General Assembly will convene again in January.
Yes.
What is on your agenda, Gino?
Well, a couple of things. Some new, some not quite so new. Obviously, what's new is that, you know, at the end of June we had the birthright citizenship case coming
June
out
30th.
Of June 30th.
5-4.
Trump versus Barbara, 5-4.
Well, on the constitutional issue, 5-4.
On the constitutional issue, 6-3 on the executive order.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, I've read the opinion, particularly I've read Clarence Thomas's 90-page dissent.
Wasn't that spectacular?
Which is just brilliant and actually should have been the opinion of the court, in my view.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he does a wonderful job of explaining how the citizenship clause, both in the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and in the 14th Amendment, were designed to overturn an erroneous U.S. Supreme Court decision in Dred Scott.
Dred Scott, 1857.
And unfortunately, Chief Justice Roberts and the others kind of went in a direction that I think the drafters and the voters who approved the 14th Amendment never would have gone.
Never would have gone.
So we look at this as legislators and say, what can we do in Tennessee to help address this? And one thing, Michael, is, you know, we obviously have passed laws that ban issuance of state driver's license to illegal aliens, folks who are in the state unlawfully. I see no reason why we should not extend that same policy to birth certificates, because although our Supreme Court right now says that anyone who's born in the United States, even those here illegally, are automatically United States citizens, there's no reason why we have to allow that process to be easier than it needs to be. And
so under your legislation, if a Chinese birth tourist flew into Nashville, went to some specialized, you know, Chinese birth tourism place, had a child, they went to the Davidson County clerk to get a birth certificate, and they wouldn't get one. Is that right? Is that how it would work?
That's how it would work. We would effectively take Judge Thomas's dissent and understand exactly who's covered by the citizenship clause, and we would issue birth certificates in the state of Tennessee consistent with that opinion.
I think that's a great idea. Crom, you look...
How do you
question?
I'm just from a practical standpoint. I also agree that this was a terrible Supreme Court decision. Now, having said that, if somebody applies, and I'm not going to say they go into some special Chinese place, they fly in and they have a baby at Vanderbilt Hospital because Vanderbilt would do that. Most hospitals in Tennessee would take somebody who came in from another country. They're pregnant. They go to the hospital, have a baby. How do officials know which people should not get the birth certificates that you're describing?
Well, they'd know from a well-drafted piece of legislation.
I mean, but I understand the legislation, but now the person shows up. What question do they? Is there a question on the form that forces the parents to identify as a birth tourist?
Well, let's start with folks who are here illegally.
Okay.
First of all, you'd have to present proof of lawful residence in the United States in order to obtain a birth certificate.
Okay.
That takes care of that category of folks.
Okay.
Now, the birth tourism, Crom, you're right, that's going to be perhaps more of a special issue. But
they would have a visa of some sort.
There would have to be some type of procedure put in place to ferret out those who were here, I mean, for a lawful purpose. I think coming to the United States to have a child so that the child can be an American citizen is not going to be considered a lawful purpose.
In the state of Tennessee.
In the state of Tennessee.
Do you think that Congress could pass a similar law that says that you can't come in to the United States for the purpose of having a baby and leaving?
Absolutely.
Congress could do that.
There already, Marsha Blackburn has such a bill already, but here's the point in terms of the state, right? Birth certificates are issued by the county within a state, right?
Ultimately.
And the counties are authorized to operate under the state constitution.
Yes, by our Tennessee Department of Health in particular.
Right.
And so we can, as a General Assembly, set the policy for the state in terms of who is entitled to receive a birth certificate. And I think my constituents, and I think the vast majority of Tennesseans, would probably see some merit in having a system where we need to go ahead and make sure that our official documents, driver's licenses, birth certificates, are issued to those who are here lawfully, because I don't think anyone who is here illegally, frankly, has a right to demand from the county or from the state.
So let me follow up with that.
Sure.
I think this bill is likely to pass, and it will be signed into law. The very next day, the Tennessee Immigration Refugee Rights Coalition, the one that's getting, along with the Tennessee Justice for Our Neighbors group, getting $1.5 million from the city of Nashville, that the mayor won't release the documents and is brazenly violating the Tennessee Public Records Act. We've asked for it. They lawyered up on it. They won't give us any of that stuff. But that very next day, they're going to file a lawsuit in Davidson County Chancery Court and probably the Middle Tennessee Federal District Court, and claiming, based upon the Roberts decision, that such a law is unconstitutional. What's your response to that?
My response would be, first, they're going to have to point to some specific provision of the Tennessee Constitution or the U.S. Constitution that the law allegedly violates. And if they point to the 14th Amendment, I mean, we'd point out that it doesn't violate the 14th Amendment, because the 14th Amendment simply says that if you are a citizen, you are entitled to certain rights, due process, equal protection, and we are not in any way depriving any citizen of due process, privileges and immunities, or due process.
I like this idea.
Yeah.
I think this will pass overwhelmingly.
It'll be hard, I think, for someone to take the counter side of it, because when we're looking at the interests of the state and of our residents, obviously we need to keep up with what's going on at the U.S. Supreme Court, because so much of what the U.S. Supreme Court does affects us here in Tennessee. And this was a bit of a swing and a miss by our conservative.
It was a huge swing and a miss.
Yeah. Are under the law as it is today, if parents who are both here illegally, if they have a child here in Tennessee, does that child get a birth certificate under current Tennessee law?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a major win. My guess is you'll have tons of support for it. We got about 2 minutes.
Okay.
What else you got?
Another big one is a bill that we almost got across the finish line this past year that would seek to eliminate abortion pills from being sent into the state illegally, because it's a felony under both federal and state law for abortion pill manufacturers, distributors, others to send abortion pills into the state of Tennessee. And unfortunately, it's going on at an amazing rate. to the extent that, based on the most recent statistics, Michael, we have 9,000 to 10,000 abortions a year in Tennessee from these abortion pills coming in illegally. So we have a bill that's going to, I hope, use the civil justice system to try to counteract that because the criminal laws simply are not working. So that's another big item that we've got.
Big one, but it sounds like you're going to have a good chance of success with that one as well.
Oh yeah, I think it's something that passed through all the committee systems in the House and the Senate. It would have passed on the floor, but we had sort of an anomaly occur on the very last day of session that prevented us from actually voting on it.
Yeah, because we filed a couple bills as well, and this is the beauty of a bicameral system, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
And the problems, you got to have everything just aligned properly, and sometimes it takes more than one session to do it. State Representative Gino Bolso, our very good friend. Gino, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Come back again soon. If you
okay,
will, please.
We'll see you soon.
Appreciate you. All right, when we come back, Tom Papper joins us, and Crom, you and I are going to talk about the president's speech tonight, where he talks about election irregularities. And,
is that the main topic of the speech?
Yeah,
okay.
and the lefts, they're already MS Now, MS Never, they're already going crazy over it. And we got the inside scoop.
Okay.
John Solomon, Steve Bannon, Tom Papper, Crom Carmichael, Michael Patrick Leahy. What a combo. Back after this. Thanks so much.
For the first time ever, we're bringing you My Pillow mattresses and mattress toppers for as low as $99.98. Remember, sleep's all about temperature and pressure points. Whatever sleep needs you have, we have the right technology for you. Like our My Pillow mattress topper, our queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort supports to help relieve your pressure points. And how about our 3-inch Hybrid Plus mattress topper? It's infused with copper and silver to help your body get the restorative sleep it needs. And our My Pillow and Case Coil mattresses, I personally helped develop these mattresses to make sure they have everything needed to give us great sleep. Plus, they're made right here in the USA, and they ship right to your front door absolutely free.
Go to mypillow.com or call 800-854-0504 and use promo code Godzilla to get My Pillow mattresses and toppers for as low as $99.98 and free shipping.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their customer service team 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
What happens in Virginia doesn't stay in Virginia. It influences policy and policymakers nationwide. The VirginiaStar.com shines a light on the issues in VA that become issues for the USA, with insightful commentary that gets to the fact of the matter. The VirginiaStar.com is your source of wisdom and truth, locally, statewide, and nationally. Log on today and every day. The VirginiaStar.com. The VirginiaStar.com.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
I'm Scott Desjardins, and I approve this message.
We will make America great again.
President Donald Trump has given his complete and total endorsement to Congressman Scott Desjardins, saying he fights for our military, veterans, law enforcement, and the Second Amendment.
I'm honored to be endorsed by President Trump. I know together we've got to control inflation, secure our borders, and strengthen our military.
Scott Desjardins, representing the people of the 4th Congressional District.
With your support, we will make America great again. Paid for by friends of Scott Desjardins.
Johnny Garrett's not some out-of-touch D.C. politician. Johnny Garrett's a Tennessean, a Christian conservative, and a proud father of 3 who's sick of the far left ruining our country with their radical policies. Conservative Johnny Garrett is proudly pro-life, pro-Trump to his core, and will always put America first. In Congress, Garrett will fight to lower taxes, cut government waste, and will always back the blue and support law and order. Garrett's fought for us in Nashville, and that's what he'll do in Congress. No to biological boys playing girl sports. No to communist China buying our farmland. And no to criminal illegals invading our state. Because with Johnny Garrett, what you see is what you get. It's time to bring more Tennessee to D.C. Send Trump conservative Johnny Garrett to Congress.
I'm Johnny Garrett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Johnny Garrett for Congress.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We are joined on our Zoom Newsmaker line by our very good friend, our lead political reporter at the Tennessee Star and the Star News Network, and the winner, along with our executive editor, Christina Buteri, and yours truly, of the Down Prize for the best local journalism in the country, awarded by the National Journalism Center back for 2025, reporting on Kilmar Abrigo Garcia. The one, the only, Tom Pappert. Good morning, Tom. We are working on the audio for Tom, and let's try it one more time and see if how's our audio coming, Tom. Okay.
Good morning,
there
Michael,
you go.
and good morning, Tom.
We're well done. We got the audio there.
Oh, good. Good
Okay.
morning, Crom.
Hey, Tom.
So, Crom and Tom, this evening, President Donald Trump is addressing the nation. And he's going to be talking about election integrity and the lack thereof in 2020. And, Crom, you may remember this. Tom, you know this, that the first investigative, fact-based investigations into irregularities, particularly in the state of Georgia, came from the Star News Network. And we went down and got all of the details on the Dropbox ballots that were placed into the drop boxes in the state of Georgia in 2020. And remember, in 2020, Donald Trump lost to Joe Biden by about 11,000 votes in the state of Georgia.
In Georgia, yeah.
And so we looked at this. The Secretary of State unlawfully allowed these drop boxes to be placed so that people could put their absentee ballots.
May I ask you a question here?
Yeah.
There are other states that had Zuckerberg, what are called Zuckerberg boxes, because Zuckerberg's the one who funded them.
Right.
There were 400 around the country. Were all of them illegally placed?
Well, in most states they were illegal. So, for instance, Wisconsin, the drop boxes funded by Zuckerberg were illegal.
But they existed nonetheless.
Right.
And tens of thousands of ballots were supposedly placed in those drop boxes.
Right. And it also in Georgia, that was the one we particularly focused on. The law did not allow for the placement of drop boxes, and yet the Secretary of State there, Brad Raffensperger, who ran for governor just now and lost, he put them in there. There was some lawsuits involved, et cetera. But Tom, as you know, we went in and we got the records of the chain of custody for about 600,000 of these ballots, and they didn't exist. And that was a huge story that we had back in December of 2020.
How did the ballots that were put in the drop boxes, which didn't go through the postal system, correct?
Correct.
How did they get to the place where they were counted?
Well, that was exactly what our story was about. There was supposed to be a mechanism where people would sign for these documents and then take them to the counting center. But those documents, when we looked at them, they did not properly account for it. There were so many irregularities, hundreds of thousands of irregularities.
So based on the lack of documentation, those ballots still got to the counting centers.
Right, and were counted.
And they were counted.
Yeah.
So do we know how they got to the vote? How do you surmise? How do you believe they got from the drop boxes? Because they weren't picked up by the Postal Service.
No. I just told you how they did it.
No, how did they? You told me how they didn't do it.
No, I told you how they did it. They had a methodology where somebody would have to sign for it.
But they didn't.
About half the time they didn't sign for it.
So Mike, physically, who picked up the ballots? Who do we think picked up the ballots? Officials from the Democrat Party?
Well, they were individuals who were hired by the local election commission, and many of them, were short-term staffers, temps, etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they had they weren't authorized by the government, by anybody. They could have been political operatives.
Well,
they could have been political operatives.
Most of them were.
Okay. Who just went and picked up whatever ballots were dropped in the boxes and brought them down to be counted.
Right.
So they could have been fraudulent ballots, and they just would have brought them.
Many of them actually were.
Okay.
Yeah. But it took us looking into it to find out.
Yeah.
Tom, so tonight we've got the president who is going to be talking about this. Our friend John Solomon, who has done great reporting at Just the News and documents this sort of stuff, has been, for the past 4 weeks, he has been working in the White House as a special investigator, not on the taxpayer dime, looking into this and many other irregularities. In particular, and you're going to hear this a little bit tonight, the worst of these offenses, Crom, took place in, wait for it, Fulton County, Georgia, right?
Okay.
And so what they've been doing is looking at the documents that we began looking at the Tennessee Star and the Star News Network back in, we actually looked at it between December of 2020 until about April of 2021. We did a whole series of articles on that. But the worst offenders were in Fulton County. And just as you said, these temporary people who would sometimes sign documents, sometimes not, they were all irregular in terms of the paperwork documentation, which is what we got to show this. They would take them to these counting centers in Fulton County, and now John Solomon has been investigating that, and that's what this is going to be about tonight. Tom, we're going to play the first clip of John Solomon talking about this. Clip number 1, if you would, Christina.
News media should be focused on, but they love anonymous stories because they can always claim afterwards their sources just weren't right. I guarantee you on Monday morning, people will wake up and they will feel good that the president gave a primetime speech. I'm sure of it. He's going to say what he's going to say, but they pick primetime speeches because they're important. So I'll leave it at that and let the American people judge, but I think there'll be plenty there.
Tom, if you could help us here. John Solomon, who's been on special assignment in the White House for 4 weeks, working with Bill Pulte, the Director of National Intelligence, on really what happened in 2020. And I think they're going to get into foreign influences as well. He was referencing some leaks that were made. Tom, tell us about where those leaks went and who reported those leaks and whether or not they
Bill
were...
Pulte and John Solomon
Hold
in there.
Hold on. There we go. Tom, go ahead and tell us the story about it.
Michael, it's very much the usual suspects. We've, of course, seen it from the Washington Post, and now MS Now, formerly MSNBC. And it's come from none other than a former Bill Clinton White House official, a guy by the name of not Steve Bannon, but Steve Bannon. And this is an individual who is a producer for Rachel Maddow, originally got his start really in national politics, as far as I can tell, through the Clinton administration. And the claim is that, according to the MS Now version at least, that John Solomon and Bill Pulte are really bad guys. They are conspiracy theorists and bad guys. I don't know if I mentioned they're bad guys. And they are talking to President Trump and saying crazy things to him, like maybe the 2020 election wasn't 100% above board. And so because Trump is listening to these really awful, terrible, no good, lousy guys, John Solomon and Bill Pulte, we're going to have a speech tonight where he's going to spread dangerous misinformation that could endanger election workers.
Yeah.
That is essentially the mainstream media take from MS Now.
And supposedly, what were the sources that this fellow at MS Now, the producer of Rachel Maddow's show, what sources did he claim provided the information?
Now, this is how they always describe these people, right? There's never a short answer. There's never a good answer to who on earth told you this. This is the description. MS Now spoke this week, quote, with an administration official familiar with deliberations over the intelligence community's material. So that could be somebody at the White House. Conceivably, it could be somebody at DNI, where Pulte is temporarily the director. It could be somebody who spoke to somebody in the men's room at the State Department. We really don't know.
Crom has some thoughts
Tom,
on
could
who
it
might
be a person that is a figment of their imagination? In other words, could it be that the person does not exist? Is that possible?
It could be, with the description we have,
Yes.
indeed an imaginary person.
Yes. I think anytime you don't name the source, I believe that the default position should be it might be a complete fake story.
Well, you know what they're doing here, Crom and Tom? They are trying to inoculate themselves from the evidence that we expect President Trump will bring tonight.
You're being very kind to them. They're not trying to inoculate themselves. They're trying to take a story that's a true story about election fraud, and they're trying to claim it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
that's what this is about. This is a lot like, I don't know if you know this, Michael. I'm sure you and Tom probably do, but the Senate held a hearing on entitlement fraud, which is in the hundreds of billions. Not a single Democrat senator showed up for any part of the hearing.
I'm shocked.
And so what I'm saying is it used to be where Democrats would say they're against waste, fraud, and abuse.
They like it now.
Now they don't even care enough to show up.
Tom, stick around. When we come back, we're going to hear some of the details on this from Stephen K. Bannon. Back after this.
Concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com. Code Godzilla for 20% off.
Folks, this is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea. I have recently turned 77 years old. I do not take prescription drugs. I have not had to take prescription drugs, and I attribute a lot of my good health to a product that I've been taking, which is the active ingredient in Soul Tea. It's a 22% concentration of theaflavin. We did clinical trials on it 25 years ago and found that it helped lower cholesterol. We have had many, many hundreds of letters and emails from customers telling us how it has helped them not only manage their cholesterol, but lower their triglycerides and help them on their blood pressure. And I can't tell you how much I attribute to Soul Tea for my good health at age 77. And I encourage you to go to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. And use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% off on your initial shipment of Soul Tea. And I promise you it will be a great help for your heart health. Thanks so much.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
I'm Brent Taylor, and I approve this message.
President Trump stands up to China, and he needs more conservative fighters to join him. In the state Senate, Brent Taylor voted for a tough new law banning foreign enemies like China from purchasing American farmland. He stands with President Trump to defend America's farmers and protect our vital agriculture industries from our enemies. Send a conservative fighter to Congress who never backs down. Vote Brent Taylor in the August 6th Republican primary. Paid for by Brent Taylor for Tennessee.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back in studio. Original All-Star panelist Crom Carmichael on our Zoom Newsmaker line right now. Our lead political reporter, Tom Pappert. You know, we're talking about the leak from supposedly to MS Now, Rachel Maddow's producer, to try to, set the stage differently for the Trump speech tonight. Stephen K. Bannon was talking about that yesterday. Let's play that clip right now. Here comes Stephen K. Bannon.
Bill Pulte and John Solomon to go in there. They've been in there, 4 weeks? 4 weeks after they start. Think about that for a second. 4 weeks after they start. 4 weeks. You have now the ability of the president to go and address the nation. And this is just the top of the first thing. You're just going to get a taste. You're going to get your beak wet. That's what you're going to do. You're going to get your beak wet. It's going to shock you. The president, not me, the president says, this is really big news, does not get any bigger. This is really big news, does not get any bigger. Now, we're trying to get the Viceroy. He's running around. We're trying to get him because there's a big story in Jack Smith in Gateway Pundit. And I would put out there that right-wing media with no resources has done a heck of a job over the last couple of years. And I say this as someone that has ran Breitbart from March of 2012 after Andrew passed away. And Andrew built that magnificent site and put all his efforts into building that magnificent new site that's there. But you look at, Raheem, you look at National Pulse and the Federalist and Breitbart and the Glenn Beck operation, and you've got Gateway Pundit, and you have on and on and on. You got Citizen Kane. We got our own Drudge. We got every different aspect. You can have reflective news. You can have people putting out trends as they come, trending news, everything. You got a whole palette. You can wake up in the morning and go to hit your top conservative news things. You could stay for hours with the different stories and the different way they break it down. And we've got, you got Real America's Voice. You also have the One American News guys. You got Newsmax. You got Fox. You got others. You got these podcasts, dozens and dozens of podcasts. You got a whole lot of stuff, right? Did any of those people get briefed by the White House like MSNBC did, or any of those people out there with the level of detail MSNBC has? Is anybody out there, you seen that? I've looked. I certainly have not seen.
So, yeah, his point there is these illusory sources that, quote, were briefed, that briefed MSNBC, but they won't say who it was. Not the case at all. Now, he forgot to mention the first news outlet to cover this, which was the Tennessee Star, the Star News Network, back in 2020. Actually, little correction on that. Actually, the first article I wrote at Breitbart, and then we moved it over to the Star News Network to cover that. Tom Pappert, tonight, how is the left-wing media going to react to the president's speech about election integrity? What do you think?
I think, as you said, Michael, you're going to see a lot of attempts to foil it around Bill Pulte and John Solomon. That's obviously going to be the gambit. And as you said, it does almost seem a little bit like jealousy, because John Solomon actually got brought into the administration as a subject matter expert, which is what Republican presidents should do. I wish that they had brought in more subject matter experts to handle, for example, the Epstein files. So I expect this is going to be very well done, very well presented, and very intelligently communicated. But they're going to say that because Bill Pulte was there and John Solomon was there, that these are conspiracy theories pushed by people who are not experts in their fields, and thus the entire thing should not only be disregarded, but it could even be dangerous for democracy. I know that there's been a lot of pressure to get the big networks, over-the-air networks, not to cover this speech, because that is the claim. It's going to be rehashing dangerous conspiracy theories from the 2020 election. I don't think, though, that this attempt by the Democrats is going to work in 2026, not after 4 years of Joe Biden and 2 years of contrast with President Trump in office.
Crom, following up on Tom's point, do you think that the left-wing media, the regime media, is going to look at this address and say, oh, he's setting up a claim that the midterm elections are not going to be legitimate?
I think the purpose of the speech from President Trump's standpoint is to get the SAFE Act passed. So if the left can keep the SAFE Act from being passed, that's a win for them. It's a loss for people who believe that voting integrity is important. I mean, I look at how people voted, or how the votes were counted, or how the election results were tabulated, however you want to call it, for California. There is no doubt in my mind, based on a whole bunch of evidence, but no actual proof, because it's impossible to find proof if you're not allowed to look in the right places to find it. But if you look at the evidence, there's no question in my mind but that there was voter fraud in the Los Angeles mayor's election. And I say that because there was up to a certain point in the vote counting, which was a large percentage of the vote. It was like up to 60% of the vote counting. Karen Bass had 34%. Spencer Pratt had like 28%, and the other one
just came up.
She was like 21%
at the very last.
And then after that, all of a sudden, the one at 21% got this huge percentage increase in the vote of the ones that were counted. That makes no sense.
Yeah,
that's not logical.
I think you're right. I think the purpose of this speech tonight is to kick the U.S. Senate in the and get the SAFE Act.
It'll succeed or fail.
Crom Carmichael, Tom Pappert, Thank you both for joining us. Up next, Clint Brewer, the fully reformed journalist and public affairs specialist, joins us. Back after this, I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. Well done. Thank you. Oh, goodness.
Or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day. People are out there saying, oh, the Iranians are never going to live by it. But let me tell you something. President Trump is going to bomb them again if they screw around.
Hopefully they live up to it, and if not, the pounding's coming. We're going to do it again and again and again.
The Cats and Cosby Show, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Trump is the toughest president we ever had.
Well, he's definitely the best bomber.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio Show.
WJFN, W224EB, 92.7 FM Chester, W299DB, 107.7 Barnair, 100.5 FM Goochland, and WJFB Portsmouth.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. Amit Thomason. Tightening the screws on Iran, the U.S. stepping up airstrikes on the Islamic Republic as control of the Strait of Hormuz remains key to the dispute between Washington and Tehran. The American military struck multiple sites.
Hitting targets farther north, as well as areas around the capital, Tehran, and firing into a ship accused of trying to break the U.S. naval blockade. Iran again retaliating with missile and drone fire targeting Bahrain and Kuwait. Tehran says U.S. strikes have killed more than 35 people in recent days and wounded more than 300.
They had to take tough action because they did not obey what they're supposed to obey. I mean, they just didn't do it.
But at the U.S. Army War College in Pennsylvania Wednesday, President Trump insisted Iran is looking to strike a deal. That interim deal to end the war appears to have been shredded. I'm Ben Thomas.
President Trump will address the nation this evening, a prime-time speech from the White House, expected to focus at least in part on election integrity.
It's really big news. It's really, really big news. And our country has to shape up. But that's what we're going to be talking about Thursday is it doesn't get bigger. Because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country. We'll be discussing other things too, but it's going to be a very big announcement.
There have been dozens of high water rescues across parts of waterlogged south central Texas, the region flooded by days of torrential rains, and it's not over yet. Across the northern U.S., it's heat, all that humidity, and smoke across a vast area. Close to 200 wildfires burning in Canada, filling the air on this side of the border with a smoky haze. On Wall Street this hour, stocks are mixed. The Dow is up 137 points, while the Nasdaq down 164. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Spring is here, and if you're staring at a home improvement project, wondering how you're going to pay for it, or looking at a big credit card bill piling up, I want you to know about my friends Mike and Brian and the team at Fellowship Home Loans. For over 20 years, Mike and Brian have been helping families like yours tap into something they already have, equity in their own home. A HELOC, a cash-out refi, a debt consolidation loan to wipe out those high-interest credit cards. Whatever fits your situation, Fellowship Home Loans will build it around you. Everything's done in-house, one roof, one team, all with a servant-led mentality. From your very first phone call to closing, you're going to get people who know your name and treat you like family. I know, I'm a customer. Right now, they're offering a free mortgage checkup, no pressure, just a real look at your options.
Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. or call 800-510-MIKE. 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans. Mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
Deep in the rainforest jungles of the Democratic Republic of Congo, researchers have found something new. It's a new species of monkey.
This search started with one blurry photograph of an unusual-looking monkey taken nearly 20 years ago. That led scientists to set out with cameras, microphones, and genetic tests that have now confirmed that this primate with black fur and pinkish-orange lips is a distinct species. Its bright facial coloring could be a visual signal, perhaps to help attract a mate. The monkeys also have a unique call to announce their presence in dense forest. The team chose the Latin name Colobus congruensis in recognition of the natural diversity in DRC. They hope that now the animals are officially a new species, they can be formally protected.
The BBC's Victoria Gill. The French National Assembly has given final approval to a bill allowing adults with incurable illness to receive lethal medications. News and analysis at townhall.com. In Washington, D.C., the Reflecting Pools saga goes on.
An Associated Press team viewed the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool from the Washington Monument and spotted the color change from American flag blue to gray. The pool was drained and debris was removed after Independence Day fireworks. Trump's renovation project has faced setbacks, including algae blooms and peeling paint. The project's cost soared from $1.5 million to over $16 million by June. Trump blames vandals for the problems, while critics point to poor repair work. Several people face charges for allegedly damaging the pool. Haya Panjwani, Washington.
More than half of House Democrats have voted to strip $3.3 billion in U.S. aid from Israel. Yesterday, 104-314 vote was not enough needed for passage, but it does show a deepening divide among Democrats in the aftermath of the war in Gaza. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
It's Thursday. It's the second hour of our program, which means all-star panelist, good friend, fully recovered journalist, public affairs specialist, Clint Brewer is in studio. Welcome, Clint.
Thanks, Mike. Good to be here.
Glad to have you here. So the big thing that we look at, and when we were growing up in the United States of America, communism was a bad word.
It was.
Communist principles were bad.
Yeah, antithetical to American values.
And yet...
But allowed here because of the First Amendment,
sure,
the Bill of Rights, right to free association. You know.
But now there's a number of, particularly younger people, who are moving towards, they say socialism, but really socialism is just the entry point to communism.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of folks running the Democratic Socialists of America wing of the Democratic Party who actually are openly communist. I mean, that's been pretty widely reported.
There was and the Democrat Party has been taken over by what they call the Democrat Socialists of America, which is really communists in essence. Their platform they announced, the Washington Times reported this, I don't know if you saw it. There are two main themes. Number one, abolish ICE. Number two, abolish the U.S. Senate. Okay, that's what they want, Clint.
Yeah.
That.
I mean, I kind of say, you know, as somebody who votes Republican, I sort of say let them run.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, if you favor the Republican Party and conservatives being in control of things, I think the contrast is terrific. Let them say what they want to say. But say it as loud as you possibly can.
But there are people that are buying that right now.
Yeah. But I think if you look at American history, we've seen these kind of bumps and blurbs and eruptions of extremist views make it in the mainstream before. You know, there was a Nazi American Party in the 30s.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and even in the 70s, George Rockwell, I think, was the guy that did it. They had marches in Skokie, Illinois.
And I'm not talking like the fringe hate groups. I'm talking, you know, they were making it into the mainstreams of academia and the media.
Yeah.
And that didn't take hold. And communism's been attempted here before, didn't take hold. I think there are young people now who feel very cut out of the system economically, and I think
that's
where
my
this comes
cue.
from, right?
That's my cue, because that's an argument that, J.D. Vance was on Joe Rogan again.
Okay.
And he was talking about that very point. Let's listen to Vice President Vance yesterday on the Joe Rogan Show talking about that.
Does the socialism thing scare me? Yes. Is it the wrong solution? Yes. But one thing I try to persuade my fellow Republicans of is socialism is the alternative if we don't have a pathway to give people a sense that the system is not rigged and that the American dream is attainable. That's like our job. That's what we have to do. I'm not saying Rome was built in a day. It's not going to be easy to undo some of these economic trends. But man, we ran the experiment. We ran the experiment of offshoring all of our industrial jobs, of becoming a services and finance economy, and allowing Wall Street to come in and buy every asset of modern life and turn it into an investable, line goes up asset. And what has that done? It's created a generation of kids who kind of are attracted to socialism. We have to fix that problem.
Well, kids that do feel, and you're correct, and I agree with you, the system is rigged. Kids feel like there are no options other than to burn it down.
Yes.
And that's the problem.
And
because they feel very frustrated.
And this is part of our job, is to provide an option that isn't burn it down, but is not just doing the same things that we've done for the past 40 years.
They're also terrified.
Your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think I completely agree with the Vice President. And I would say if you look at the people who are leading these conversations and trying to lead young people into socialism, they're very privileged people. I mean, one of the ladies from New York, I can't remember her name. You'll tell me, I'm sure off the top of your head, who was elected to Congress as a DSA member of the Democratic Party. She's had the luxury of working on a PhD for 7 years.
Right.
I mean, I hear sort of a lot of this whining out of New York about how expensive it is to live in New York and how there's no opportunity. But the people doing all the whining, the lead whiners, seem to be enjoying life just fine. And they seem to be operating from a position of remarkable privilege. And having the luxury of time and higher education. And to my knowledge, if you want to live in the best places in New York, it's always been expensive.
Very expensive, yeah.
So then you see the elections happening in Colorado. Well, Colorado's a pretty screwed up state. And, I think you're seeing, I share the Vice President's concern, but I also look at where this is happening and who the messengers are. I can't believe it would ever translate to Middle America. You're not going to see socialists take over the state house in Tennessee or Oklahoma or Iowa. I don't even think you would necessarily see it in a place like California. So I think, to use one of F. Scott Fitzgerald's favorite lines, I think they will be played out. Their routine will be played out at some point. I'm not saying people shouldn't be vigilant. I'm not saying people shouldn't be concerned. I think what people should be concerned about is what the Vice President illuminated in that clip, which is we've engineered an economy that has made us beholden to foreign governments, particularly China, when it comes to manufacturing. I think we have removed a class of jobs from this country that used to create a very solid upper middle class to middle class life for people. And the world just continues to change, rapidly. And I think that our government, while, we have had traditionally a laissez-faire approach to economics, and capitalism means letting the markets decide. At the same time, I think we have to, from a government standpoint, make sure that we create a system where there's opportunity for everybody. And I think the Vice President's right. I don't think the DSA is a great threat overall. I think it's a fantastic talking point for the midterms and beyond.
I think it's more of a threat than you do, but let's go to this point. If you're a kid today, 18, 19, 20, 21, And if you want to be a lawyer or an accountant or a doctor, there's probably a path there.
Mm-hmm.
But what about, 90% of the population of kids that don't want to do that? What paths do they have?
Well, I think we have to look at our secondary education system,
Mhm.
and we, still have a system across all states that aggressively drive kids to college, and that's not the path for all children.
Well, and it drives them to college where, they're often given sort of left-wing communist ideology.
Or they're
And
allowed to get degrees that are meaningless and
Yeah,
have
like-
no value in the workforce.
Like gender ideology or basket weaving or,
Yeah.
sociology.
My dad used to call it underwater basket weaving.
Underwater, yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think if you take a state like Tennessee, which
Yeah.
is a great example, or Tennessee Colleges of Applied Technologies.
Yes.
We've got a network of 30 plus of them across
Mhm.
the state. They're free.
Mhm.
And they give people trades, job
Welding,
skills,
electrician,
I mean,
plumbers.
if you are a 18-year-old who just graduated high school and you want to go to work immediately, you can go enroll in a TCAT and under a year be out of school making, $70,000 to $90,000 a year in a trade.
Pretty good.
And it's
Yeah.
not a trade that's going to go away, right? And
But are enough kids focused in that direction now?
No, they're not, because culturally we've conditioned people to believe that the only path is a college degree. And it's a great path for the right kid.
When we come back, a former acting U.S. attorney from Middle Tennessee is in trouble. Jack Smith. Jack Smith, the prosecutor under Biden, maybe be called in for perjury. Back after this.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Trouble getting to sleep and staying asleep is infuriating. Your mind races, you toss and turn. Nutrition company Healthy Cell created REM sleep to help you quickly fall asleep, stay asleep, and sleep deep. Unlike other supplements that don't work, REM sleep is not a pill. It's a gel you swallow with ultra absorption of science-backed ingredients, supporting all 4 stages of sleep. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order. Risk-free. Love it or your money back. Guaranteed. Healthycell.com. Code Godzilla.
Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
I'm Scott Desjardins, and I approve this message.
We will make America great again.
President Donald Trump has given his complete and total endorsement to Congressman Scott Desjardins, saying he fights for our military, veterans, law enforcement, and the Second Amendment.
I'm honored to be endorsed by President Trump. I know together we've got to control inflation, secure our borders, and strengthen our military.
Scott Desjardins, representing the people of the 4th Congressional District.
With your support, we will make America great again. Paid for by friends of Scott Desjardins.
Johnny Garrett's not some out-of-touch D.C. politician. Johnny Garrett's a Tennessean, a Christian conservative, and a proud father of 3 who's sick of the far left ruining our country with their radical policies. Conservative Johnny Garrett is proudly pro-life, pro-Trump to his core, and will always put America first. In Congress, Garrett will fight to lower taxes, cut government waste, and will always back the blue and support law and order. Garrett's fought for us in Nashville, and that's what he'll do in Congress. No to biological boys playing girl sports. No to communist China buying our farmland. And no to criminal illegals invading our state. Because with Johnny Garrett, what you see is what you get. It's time to bring more Tennessee to D.C. Send Trump conservative Johnny Garrett to Congress.
I'm Johnny Garrett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Johnny Garrett for Congress.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, a very good friend, fully recovered journalist, public affairs specialist, Clint Brewer. A little programming note, we'll be joined at the bottom of the hour by Congressman Matt Van Epps.
Outstanding.
He just passed his first bill in the House.
Saw
we'll
that.
talk about that with him.
That was quick.
And then, but you know what the big question is? What's the Senate going to do with it?
Fair question.
But we'll ask him about that. Okay. Have you followed the news going on about the former Biden administration prosecutor / persecutor of Donald Trump, Jack Smith?
Just tangentially, but yeah, tell me about it.
So we'll play this little clip. You know, Todd Blanche. Have you followed he's been nominated for Attorney General?
Of course.
And the Democrats are pulling the usual Democrat stuff. Who's the crazy senator from Hawaii? Hirano. She started off by saying, and I'm not playing the clip, but she said, have you ever been charged with a sexual crime in your life? The guy says, no. Have you ever made improper sexual advances that weren't? No.
Sort of a string of "Do you still beat your wife?" questions.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And then he got into it with Adam Schiff, the senator from California, and Schiff didn't have the goods on him at all. But here is a very instructive clip from Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri. He's very strong.
Oh yeah.
He was a former attorney general there.
Yep.
I think he has aspirations.
You think?
Don't they?
Really? I've never heard that before.
16. They all look in the mirror, don't they? And see a president.
You know what my response to that is? I'm shocked that there's gambling in this saloon.
But he's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm going to play. And so he was talking about the conduct of Jack Smith, who now, as it turns out, he subpoenaed records, cell phone communications, Didn't get the text per se from the first storyline, but it was like 8 or 9 senators, including Marsha Blackburn and Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz.
Senator Haggerty.
And Senator Haggerty. Like, really? And then, like 80 private citizens, including our friend Phil Klein, law professor and former Attorney General of Kansas. And now it comes out that apparently he also got the actual text messages of 44 individuals. That just broke. And he testified in Congress that he never did that.
Oh, wow.
That's what you call perjury.
It is.
Well, here's the back and forth between Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri and Attorney General nominee Todd Blanche on the Jack Smith issue. It's pretty long, but it's pretty insightful. Clip 3.
I want to start with Jack Smith and the latest revelations of his illegalities, which seem to have no end. I mean, listen, I've had my text messages, did have my text messages by him scooped up, read, who knows what he did with them. I've had my cell phone monitored. He tracked my incoming calls, my outgoing calls. He tracked my metadata. He tracked my location. I mean, Lord knows what else. The part that really offends me, though, is that he didn't just do it to me and members of Congress. He did it to ordinary Americans. I've had Missourians come to me and say, I had FBI agents show up at my door, knock on my door and say, were you in Washington, D.C. in January of 2021? These are people who did nothing wrong. They weren't even here. They come to me and they said, what is going on? What am I going to do? I can't afford an attorney. What really gets me at the end of the day is he lies about it. I mean, he has lied and lied about it. And I want to just make good that claim. Here is a record. I'm going to read it to you. A record of Jack Smith's responses under oath now to members of Congress. He is asked, question, as it relates to members and their staffs and senators, it's just the toll records as far as you remember. Smith, that is my recollection. Question, did the records that you requested include the content of text messages? Smith, answer, no. Now, maybe there's some nuance I'm missing here, but it sounds a lot to me like this guy didn't tell the truth. Have you thought about investigating this guy for perjury?
We take testimony in front of this body very seriously, yes.
Good. Well, I think he absolutely should be investigated. I think he absolutely should be prosecuted, if at all possible. And based on his responses under oath, I think he should be. And I think it's time that we say that these people who did this, who engaged in this mass illegality, blatant violation of the separation of powers, blatant violation of the Constitution. We know what they did to President Trump. We know what they did to everyday innocent Americans. And that's before we even touch the issue of trying to recruit spies into Catholic parishes, sending members of the anti-terrorism division to go hound parents who went to school board meetings. It's unlike anything we've ever seen in American history. And my view is there needs to be accountability for it. I hope that you will investigate Jack Smith for perjury, and I hope that possibly you'll prosecute him.
Yes, Senator.
Well, that's interesting because the breaking news for me there, which just came in the past couple of days, he mentioned toll records.
Right.
A toll records is not, if you send if you're somewhere and you make a call, it would track, a toll record would track who you called at what time. But he's saying it's more than that. It's the actual content of the text messages that Jack Smith got. Now that is clearly a violation of the First Amendment. Seems to me.
Well, I mean, did they have a court order allowing them to do this? I mean, I mean, what legal process did they follow to begin this surveillance? I mean, that's the question.
Big question.
And I mean, if he says it's his recollection,
that's the weasel word.
That's a really good lawyerly answer.
Right.
You know, I mean, I think he's going to have to modify his responses. You know, you ever see that old Harrison Ford movie, Clear and Present Danger? I do not recall, Senator. I mean, he's already doing it. I have no recollection of that, Senator. You know, I mean, that's what he did. That's what he did. And I mean, you know, he's not saying no. He's saying, I have no recollection of that, which isn't a no.
It's the Alzheimer's defense.
Well, it's a tried and true defense when being deposed before a congressional committee.
What is, I think, this is illustrative, it seems to me, that Democrats brazenly abuse the legal process. And, you know, the Biden Department of Justice, they were all over it. I think this is highly contentious and very dangerous for the ongoing operation of a constitutional republic.
Well, I mean, there's a long-standing history of this in our government, and it tends to lean Democratic. I can't say Republicans have never engaged in it over the decades, but I mean, you can look back at the Obama White House. I mean, you're a journalist. We're doing a show for a media company right now. I mean, the Obama White House, through its Justice Department, pursued the sources of leaks. They jailed people over that, using their First Amendment rights. And so, I would love to say this isn't default position for our government over the years, but it kind of is. And I agree with Senator Hawley. It needs to be investigated to the fullest extent.
And I think Todd Blanche will. Any thoughts on? I'm hearing that John Cornyn might be the fly in the ointment in the confirmation of Todd Blanche. Now he sort of would have a complaint against President Trump.
He's got one to register. Yeah, I mean he's on his way out thanks to the president's endorsement.
Paxton.
I think, although at the same time you could
Yeah.
very easily make the argument he was going to lose that race whether the president endorsed or not.
I think he got stomped. But he seems quite angry.
Well, yeah.
He seems angry.
I have actually personally lobbied John Cornyn before, and I can tell you from personal experience that's not an easy conversation.
Really?
Yeah. He's tough. He's a tough customer.
Tough guy.
Yeah, I mean he's a tough guy.
Well, he's going to be a tough guy out of office, and he just might, on his way out the door, create a problem for the president with the Blanche nomination. Okay, when we come back, breaking news. Matt Van Epps, congressman from the 7th District, will join us. Just passed a big bill in the defense arena. We'll talk about that and what the Senate's going to do with it and what his future plans are. Okay. Back with Matt Van Epps and Clint Brewer after this.
CEO of Solti. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Solti almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Solti. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to HealthyCell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's HealthyCell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
And they're off.
This summer, the Thunder returns to Colonial Downs Racetrack. Live thoroughbred racing June 25th through September 7th. Feel the excitement. Hear the roar of the crowd. Experience Virginia's premier horse racing destination every Thursday through Sunday all summer long. Bring the whole family for Family Fun Sundays, packed with activities for all ages. Parking? Free. General admission? Free. Memories? Priceless. Make Colonial Downs Racetrack your new summer fun time tradition. Get tickets and race day info now at colonialdowns.com.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with your host, Rick Hughes, every Sunday morning on the John Fredericks Radio Network. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul, built on God's Word. Join us every Sunday morning for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody.
I'm Brent Taylor, and I approve this message.
Crime and violence reign in America's big cities, but conservative Brent Taylor is fighting the spread of violent crime. Taylor led the fight against Tennessee's only Soros-backed district attorney and won. Sponsored the law, holding DAs accountable when they refused to prosecute criminals. Passed the law, ending cashless bail in Tennessee. Send a conservative fighter to Congress who never backs down. Vote Brent Taylor in the August 6th Republican primary. Paid for by Brent Taylor for Tennessee.
250 years ago, following an extraordinary victory that shook the globe, these newly forged Americans walked off the battlefield to create something unique in the world. A government that values individual liberty and justice. A system of laws built on limiting power and holding the mighty to account. They were young, they were bold, and together they wrote a document that changed everything. That document still stands, and 250 years later, the question remains, can we keep it? This October in Brentwood, Tennessee, students in grades 8 through 12 have a chance to answer that question and compete for a $10,000 Grand Champion Education Scholarship. More than $17,000 in education scholarships will be awarded in all. The 2026 National Constitution Bee, Saturday, October 24th, Spring Hill Suites, Marriott, Brentwood, Tennessee. Register now at nationalconstitutionbee.org. That's nationalconstitutionbee.org.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We are joined on our Newsmaker line by Congressman Matt Van Epps, who represents Tennessee's 7th Congressional District. Welcome, Congressman Van Epps. Thanks for joining us today.
Michael, hey, so good to be on with you again. I really appreciate the time.
Fully recovered journalist and public affairs specialist Clint Brewer is here in studio as well. And
awesome. Hey, Clint.
Hey, Congressman. Good to hear your voice.
So we want to congratulate you, Congressman, because the first bill, you won the special election back in December, sworn in, and the first bill that you've introduced passed the House. It's called the Major Non-NATO Ally Terror Threat Assessment Act, and it passed, I guess, just earlier this week. Congratulations.
That's right. Oh, thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate it. I'm very proud of the team. This is a full team effort. It's a long title, the Major Non-NATO Ally Terror Threat Assessment Act. But this is a really critical piece of legislation that came out of the Counterterrorism and Intel Subcommittee of Homeland that I sit on, and then went through full Homeland Security before getting a vote on the floor this week. And this bill identifies and monitors terror threats to the United States. So these major non-NATO ally countries, so there's 20 of them. Taiwan, it doesn't have the designation, but is considered in this group. And so these partnerships enable defense trade eligibility and security cooperation, access to U.S. contracts and military financing. And so what we wanted to do with this legislation is increase oversight where there's a current gap where terrorist organizations may operate within these major non-NATO ally countries without consistent congressional visibility. So essentially, this bill has Homeland Security work with the State Department and the Director of National Intelligence to evaluate the terrorist organizations that are operating in these countries, the capabilities, whether or not they have access or are using emerging technologies, and then provide that assessment back to Congress so that we can assess what DHS capabilities are, and then to resource and fill any of those gaps. So a bit technical, but really important to our counterterrorism efforts.
Now, you are a graduate of West Point, a combat veteran. You flew helicopters in combat. I think, do you serve on the Armed Services Committee?
Not yet. We're hoping to in the next Congress.
Tell us how you got this through Congress. I mean, to get a bill passed, there are 435 members of the House.
Yeah,
you know them. Right? That's quite. You're one of 435. It's a significant accomplishment to get a bill passed in your first year.
Well, thank you. We're really excited about it. And of the 435, we're not the newest anymore, but we're still pretty new, like the third newest. And we got this done in the first 7 months, and it really is a testament to just the teamwork and collaboration. And to your point, being the West Point experience, we've talked about this. I was there on 9/11. I was a part of the first seminar course for terrorism studies that West Point launched in 2004, and then serving in the 160th and our special operations missions provided a conducive background to work in service on the counterterrorism and intel subcommittee. But I didn't start off on that subcommittee. When I came in, typically, you go through the steering committee process and you have some ability to choose what committees you want to be on. But they told me, hey, you're going to be on Homeland Security and Science, Space, and Technology, which are both great. But I didn't start off on the counterterrorism and intel subcommittee. When a member left in January, it opened a seat there. And so I just went to the chairman and I made a request, and he granted that for me to be on that subcommittee where this bill originated. And I think part of it is the subcommittee staff on counterterrorism and intel is just exceptional. And we took an approach where we said every single day, every time that we can engage with the Homeland Security Committee, we're going to show up, we're going to be present, we're going to stay for the full committee hearings if they're 5 hours long. We're going to be prepared and ask good questions of witnesses and really just dive into the process and be a good team player. And I think they saw that of our full team. And this critical bill started there. We worked with the subcommittee staff, and they worked with us to get a markup in the subcommittee. It moved then to the full committee, got marked up there, and got that vote that moved it to the floor. And then to get on the floor for a vote, that's a Leader Scalise decision.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Yeah, it's a very big deal. It's a very big deal. And so very grateful for Leader Scalise and giving us the opportunity to get this bill out on the floor. And so really all around a great team effort.
Congressman Van Epps, Clint Brewer has a question for you.
Congressman, congratulations on the bill. It's a very astute and complex piece of legislation, and it's obviously very needed. What was the genesis of the bill? Is this something you were aware of from your military experience? Is this an issue that's been out there for a long time and just needed somebody like you to step up and address it? How did it happen? Yeah,
Clint, great question. It really started with the subcommittee staff on counterterrorism and intel, and this team of folks who really dive into the counterterrorism and intel issues. And so they brought it to our attention, and then our team worked with them and dug into it, and it became the bill that it is today that got passed. But we, as a part of this work on this subcommittee, we showed up, and I try to get at least a classified briefing once a week when I'm here. Some of those are organic in the hearings that we have. And if not, then I try to just go down and go down to the SCIF and work with the subcommittee staff and to understand current issues, emerging issues. And that's part of the just diving in that engagement that we set out as an objective from working with the Homeland Security team and being present. And that was a component of it where we wanted to build strong relationships, but also leverage my background and the office's background. My team here has experience on the Homeland Security Committee. And so we wanted to leverage all of that, working with the subcommittee staff to get to an issue that we thought was critical, a gap that we thought we could solve in this Congress. And so that led to this bill. And a lot of credit goes to the Counterterrorism and Intel Subcommittee staff. That subcommittee is led by August Pfluger, who is a great member. He is the Republican Study Committee, the RSC chair. He's out of Texas. He was an F-22 pilot, Air Force Academy guy. So I give him a hard time for that, being a West Point guy. But he's truly an exceptional leader and leads an incredible staff there that helped us get this done.
You mentioned a word there, Congressman, a SCIF. What's a SCIF, and why do you have to go into a SCIF to read documents, and what's it like being in a SCIF?
Absolutely. So the SCIF is where all of the classified information is able to be viewed and processed, sensitive compartmented information facility. And you can't have your phone when you go in. You got lock boxes outside, any electronic devices. And, I was familiar with that from my time in the Army, my time in 160th. And so we're able to review information that comes from the intelligence community and things like this bill that we drove and some of the background information, though the bill is, of course, is unclassified but being able to review the information, the intelligence, work with the subcommittee and drive these kind of things is just critically important. It is, and Michael, we've talked about this, and we, based on my background, wanting to take a national security lens and focus to the things we do is really important to me. It's important to our district and state and country. And that's the approach we've taken with Homeland Security, but also with the Science, Space, and Technology Committee, which is focused on AI and quantum and future technology, emerging technology.
You're right at the center of all these things. Congressman Van Epps, are you ready for the big question?
I'm ready. I am ready.
You're halfway home, past the House, but it doesn't become a bill until the Senate passes it and the President signs it. What's going to happen with this bill in the Senate, and is anybody in the Senate going to help you out?
Well, we're working on that part right now to get the companion legislation moved. We've got some thoughts on that, and that is the objective: is get the companion piece of legislation in the Senate, get it pushed through. I mean, we believe this is common sense, and we're working with folks there, and then we hope to get it to the president's desk, and would love to be in the Oval Office when he signs it, and can take some pictures and bring that pen back too. But that's our objective. That is absolutely objective.
The relationship between the House and the Senate these days is a little bit dicey.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to overcome that, you think?
I think, Michael, with this kind of legislation, I think we can. This is it really is, like I said, it's common sense, and it's really important. It fills and solves for a critical gap. And I think there are a lot of national security minded Republicans in the Senate that are interested in this kind of work. I'll give you an example. Senator Cotton reached out to us on a bill that he led in the Senate that we are now leading in the House that would authorize, train, and equip commercial operators of critical infrastructure locations to do counter UAS, counter drone.
So you've established relationships in the Senate. We're hoping that it passes the Senate, you get it signed by the president in the Oval Office, and next time you're back in the district, please come in studio. Congressman Matt Van Epps, thank you so much for joining us today.
Sure, well, Michael, thank you. Clint, good to talk to you. Appreciate what you all do.
All right, thanks. Congressman Matt Van Epps.
Bye.
Pretty sharp to get a bill in your first 7 months. All right, back with data centers after this. I've got a hook here.
Hey folks, Al Green here for Sat Phone. When you're on the go. want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need sat phones. Sat phones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your sat phone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
The President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Marsha Blackburn is an incredible person.
She's a fighter, a true fighter. For the people of Tennessee, she loves your state.
Trump trusted Tennessee first. Marsha Blackburn will deport illegal immigrants from Tennessee in record numbers and ban China from buying up 1 inch of Tennessee land.
Marsha Blackburn, a very, very early supporter of ours, a really wonderful woman.
A rock-solid conservative who will fight the woke agenda, deliver results, and never, ever back down.
They're lucky to get you because you are a talent and a great person, and you've been with me all the way, and I appreciate it.
Tennessee's one and only Marsha Blackburn for governor.
She's a fighter, a true fighter. For the people of Tennessee, she loves your state.
Paid for and authorized by Marsha for Governor, Treasurer Glenn Jacobs.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, My Pillow mattresses and My Pillow mattress toppers as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale only $14.98. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's gonna ship absolutely free.
To take advantage of the second annual mega sale, go to mypillow.com or call 800-854-0504 and use promo code Godzilla.
Johnny Garrett's not some out-of-touch D.C. politician. Johnny Garrett's a Tennessean, a Christian conservative, and a proud father of 3 who's sick of the far left ruining our country with their radical policies. Conservative Johnny Garrett is proudly pro-life, pro-Trump to his core, and will always put America first. In Congress, Garrett will fight to lower taxes, cut government waste, and will always back the blue and support law and order. Garrett's fought for us in Nashville, and that's what he'll do in Congress. No to biological boys playing girl sports. No to communist China buying our farmland. And no to criminal illegals invading our state. Because with Johnny Garrett, what you see is what you get. It's time to bring more Tennessee to D.C. Send Trump conservative Johnny Garrett to Congress.
I'm Johnny Garrett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Johnny Garrett for Congress.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Our guest, all-star panelist, good friend, Clint Brewer. Clint, my native state, New York, now has gone crazy. Here is an
it's
article.
It's not the first time.
I know. It's really gone crazy now, Governor Kathy Hochul. This is an article by Josh Wolf, just published at the Free Press. I'll read it and get your reaction. New York, birthplace of the power grid, the transistor's commercial triumph, and the modern corporation, just became the first state in America to ban the future for at least a year. This week, Governor Kathy Hochul signed an executive order imposing a moratorium on new data centers. She has sold the policy as a prudent pause to protect electricity bills, water, and the grid, but strip away the press release piety, and you find something simpler, sadder, and short-sighted, pure political posturing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's happening all over the country.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about it on the show before. We're in a race with Chinese on technology, and you know, data centers have been put out there as this thing that feeds tech billionaires and these AI companies, but just about everything in the cloud at some point functions off a data center.
Got to go through a data center. It's when we interviewed Senator Blackburn, he basically said data centers are like the factories of a century ago.
No, they are,
Yeah.
and you know, there's a lot of jobs in creating them. There's a lot of jobs in maintaining them, and you know, I mean, you know, maybe tech companies ought to be charging more for the products in New York. I mean, as a result, if you don't have local service, so to speak, start treating these data centers like a local utility. You know, I mean, if you don't have enough of them in your state, maybe you don't get the products that they provide.
You know, there are some concerns that if a data center uses too much electricity, the average electric bill will go up for an individual. There are ways to address that.
Well, the ways to address it is for local utilities to simply say we can't handle this and provide electricity at the required rate for our existing customers. I mean, if the infrastructure doesn't support it, then you shouldn't build it there. And that's all there is to it.
Pretty simple.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
And if they, you know, utilities in this country have been in the business for a very long time of actively recruiting industries to come to their area so they can have bigger customers because they want to sell power. And if you know, I think people are focusing on the wrong part of this. They're focused, and they're right to focus on their own particular electrical needs. Completely agree. Wouldn't fault anybody from doing that. But you know, this moratorium, maybe what the requirement should be is that, you know, whether it's this industrial user or any industrial user, a public utility can't accept their business at the expense of their own customers. And I mean, that seems more logical to me than taking away people's property rights and hampering free enterprise and hurting our, you know, competition with communist China. And
well, that's it right there. I mean, they're hampering our competition. This is the race for the future.
But I'm setting the governor of New York aside. She's not a regular person. But
no, she's not.
Your average
the Botox bandit from Buffalo.
Yeah.
That's what that
you and your
no the bucktooth Botox bandit from Buffalo.
Mike Leahy, the master of the alliteration insult.
I stole it from Sean Farash.
Yeah. So I mean, look, people, regular folks, consumers, taxpayers, their concerns over public resources are completely understandable and well-founded. I mean, I have the same concerns, but the regulatory environment that's being created around this is haphazard. It's unplanned. It's not well thought out. And these moratoriums, they're going to do more harm to the country than good. And, you know, a little bit of thought put into it rather than knee-jerk political reaction is what's needed. And if a utility can't handle it, then they don't need to accept the business. If, you know, the state Department of Environment and Conservation in any state believes that it's not going to meet environmental requirements for the local water table, then they don't need to allow it. I mean, we have the ability to shape where these facilities go without passing these sort of Luddite bans on them statewide.
There you go. That's a good use of the term. Luddite bans. That's what. And when you are Luddites and you break all of your new equipment, you're basically dooming the economic future of wherever you're doing it.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, the politics of this are fascinating. You've got a weird combination of some far lefties opposing it, and then, but also you've got sort of I might call the fringe, populist, quasi-phony conservative.
Yes.
In rural areas opposing it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You do. And I want to think they're opposing it out of just a lack of information and being fear-mongered to by the left. You know, and there are large NGOs going all over this country, in part fueled by Chinese money.
Yeah.
You know, stoking fear in the American populace and telling us that these are bad things and getting these bans put in place. I mean, the Bitcoin Policy Institute and the Washington Times had a very thorough report on this influence campaign that China's doing in the U.S. through NGOs on data center bans. It's all out there.
I agree with you completely.
It's all out there to read.
We need data centers done properly. And if we don't, we're going to be at a competitive disadvantage. Clint Brewer, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
That's our program for today. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. The website, TennesseeStar.com. Rob Carson is up next on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
Instagram, Facebook, everything is right there. We're on X, we're on Rumble. You name it, we're there. Don't forget Getter too. Just follow me.